Welcome to another episode of, I don't know what to call this yet, but yeah, we are talking about LiDAR and everything around it. So this is autonomous driving, this is Zoox. Let's go back, let's wind back for a while. Like, this is what we're talking about today. So Zoox is doing purpose-built vehicles. It's a huge company. They are in the game for quite some while, and they take a very significantly different approach to other companies like Cruise has started out or Waymo. Those guys are actually doing purpose-built vehicles. So it's not just any other like automated car, like with thousands of blips and blobs around the car where you have like these cameras and radars and lidars sticking out the back and the front of the vehicle. This is actually an omnidirectional. Here in Germany we often relate to it as people mover, but that's not how they call it, right? It's their Zoox purpose-built vehicle platform, engineered from the ground up. It can go back and forth, no need for U-turns. It can steer both axles, and it has trillions of sensors around the whole car. So let's dive right into it. So yeah, this is like, you've seen this probably in like loads of different videos. This is like standard camera footage, some 2D image processing, probably deep learning, AI, blah, blah, blah based. You get bounding boxes of the environment, right? That's nothing new. What is really telling this approach apart from anything else is we have, you see on these corners, we have two lidars, we have probably cameras. I don't know if they have radar built into this or like in different parts of the vehicle, but they are actually taking us on a journey. Yeah, this is where we have a better picture of this. So they actually have, you see highlighted here, camera. They have rotating LiDAR scanners, which is like emitting light and actually measuring the time that the light takes back to bounce back to the sensor. So this gives you like true depth information from each frame, as opposed to camera has to use software on top of the actual image processing, where it just collects ambient light to create the depth information. They have all this built into all four corners. It looks like over-engineered at its best, right? It's like so many sensors, but those guys, they are not making they are not taking any shortcut or anything, right? Those guys are really building all they have into this to like create the most efficient, best performance and highest robustness and safe technology. So this is, for me, this is the benchmark in what's being done currently. And this is what you get. So again, we see camera only here. We have ground detection, you see. We have sidewalk detection. We have segmentation of the surrounding dynamic objects and even objects in standstill, most likely. I don't know, this seems to be like something standing on the right of the street. And they are, of course, detecting traffic lights and even the status of the traffic light, which is green here, and road signs and such. So this is already giving you a huge insight into what's happening around the vehicle. But they are not stopping there. So this is just camera. If we go a step ahead, let me jump a bit down the video. Yeah, that's their director of perception, right? So he's, I consider him as the mastermind behind this. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm following him for quite some while, and it's just amazing what this guy and his team is doing. So what we can see here is, this is actually LiDAR data. So before we had camera, this is LiDAR. So you see here these ground lines. This is the down-facing LiDARs. And then we have, it's a bit hard to see, but here you see the layers, which are actually horizontally. So you have the down-facing that create these lines on the ground, and then you have the around-facing surround LiDARs that create these horizontal lines. And it looks a bit weird maybe because you're not used to it, but for the car, what this gives them is like you have a per frame depth image of the whole surrounding. So this is a car, maybe a tree, I don't know. And again, we have this parked truck ahead of us, right? And the people standing around it. So we have the same scene in different viewpoints or something. So camera with the segmentation on top, which is a software layer. This is the LiDAR raw point cloud. I don't know. I think they are not showing us the actual process data from the software layer point of view. But then we are going into, here we see it, right? So they have radar all around the vehicle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably the same on the other side. So radar works like similar and very different to LiDAR. It is like also a technology that actively emits energy, so different to camera, which is just receiving light, ambient light. If it's dark, it doesn't see anything, right? Or very little. LiDAR was sending out pulses of light and waiting for the time to come back to like measure the distance by like the speed of light. This is radar using electromagnetic waves and applying the Doppler effect to like actually see the shift in phase and amplitude of the signal to measure distance of the reflecting object to the radar. And it also inherently gives or gets the velocity this object is traveling at. So this technology is incredibly good at actually telling what is where, especially like metallic and dense objects in the environment, and it gives you the velocity and direction it's traveling at relative to your vehicle. So this is huge. So these bounding boxes represent like a clustered set of points which relates to a vehicle most probably that is traveling in a certain direction at a certain speed, and this is being acquired. This is what radar gives you, right? So it's another layer of information of the environment which adds perfectly into like the depth image, which is really, really high accuracy and resolution of LiDAR, the 2D image of camera, which is like megapixel information with color and all that. And now this, which is like very accurate positional accuracy with the velocity built into it. And here again, we can, I guess, it's hard to tell from radar, camera was easier. Probably again, this parked truck up front, right? Just from a different viewpoint again. Right. So this is radar. Let's see what we've got next. I think they are showing us the micro. Yeah, this is thermal. So this is, I haven't seen this in a lot of videos yet, but they do an amazing job at actually showing us like what the car sees. So this is thermal camera. It looks like grayscale. It's 2D image for sure. It's quite high resolution, as you see. What this does is it's again like only getting ambient energy, basically it's collecting, but this time it's heat. So this is thermal, this is heat profiles of the environment, and you can see the ambient is pretty evenly distributed heat profiles, and those pedestrians really, really stand out, right? You have very, very hot heat profiles on like the head and the legs and so on. Also vehicles like the motor and the tires of the vehicles coming, approaching the Zoox vehicle also have significant heat profiles. But what's most important is that those vulnerable road users, how they're called, right? Those you can really tell apart from the static environment, which really helps you to get another bump in safety and reliability, to not like what's always the case, right? You don't want to overrun people. The kid that's crossing the street to like run after its ball or whatever. This is like the level of extra robustness and information you get from thermal. So if we have this, I think next again, now it's really what I wanted to say before. Yeah, it's the microphone. So how do you how to react to like ambulances coming, crossing your way and so on. This is microphone is essential to like get this extra information on your surroundings where you can't see but maybe hear something. And then I think we are pretty much there, yeah. And this is what we get. So from all this information, they create this fused model of the world surrounding them. And like you see the Zoox vehicle here, and you see all the information about all what's happening around them. So they have the pedestrians here, they have drivable space and not drivable space. So this gray zone is probably where the vehicle decided it can't or shouldn't drive. You have outlines of of the buildings and such. And then the dynamic objects here are marked in blue. You have different kinds and types. You have like the vehicles and the trucks and all that. And the truck up front, they actually signal this as it looks more like just a brick, right? So this is a static object. They recognize this. So the trajectory planning they do, it should, you see it signals a stop here. This is like not just perception and environment. This is also now the planning and decision making. And as soon as this Porsche Macan or what it is passes, it says it's good to cross. It's allowed to cross because it's got this dotted line here, and it's just overtaking the parked truck. And it even sees like the pedestrian crossing and all that. So this is really, I don't know, this is next level. This is, for me, it looks superhuman. It looks, if this is robust, if this is safe enough and they can make it work, they can actually argue from the numbers, statistics, that this is working in like 100 million, I don't know, whatever situations, and is way safer than humans. This is gonna be a total game changer to how we travel, how we go places. It's got 150 meters range, they claim. It can look like left and right. It can detect upcoming traffic. It has an overview unprecedented, like no human really has those capabilities, right? So it's really just, which is really hard, of course, getting this robustness aspect right. It works at night, as they showed, and this is like a real nugget I wanted to show you. This is, for me, one of the things that really tells Zoox apart from everyone else. That is, right, just wait, we're not quite there. Look at this. Look at this. They detect walking, they detect someone waving at them. This is really the meta information you need, right? So this person is clearly not paying attention. So they wait for it to, it's even crossing the street, right? Looking at it at her phone and so on. They can detect the signals of vehicles, of course, to again reason about the intent of what this vehicle might do next. And traffic cones, okay, this is all pretty standard stuff maybe, but this for me is really like, look at this. It detects a person, that it's carrying a sign. It's probably a stop sign, so it's supposed to be stopping. And then it also checks that this guy is like turning the sign and the car is good to drive off. So this is what you need, right? You need to understand, not only detect, but then reason and understand about like what is meant, like reading between the lines. What is the environment telling me, to also do like judgment of like, can I drive? Do I have to stop? Do I have to turn around? I don't know. So this is really, this is blowing my mind, honestly, like this level of understanding and intelligence in those vehicles. And then this is my absolute favorite. Again, like, I'm all about LiDAR. I love LiDAR. I'm dealing with all sorts of LiDAR, sharing news and all that. And here we can see a unique, like an amazing case. Very little LiDAR companies, for example, like to share, I think, quite openly, because it's a big drawback of the technology that some people argue might be also be an obstacle in series adoption, which is dealing with these adverse weather conditions. So we have rain, we have spray by the car driving up front, and what the LiDAR detects here is it's picking up the particles in the environment, and actually the software is reasoning there might be a car driving in front. which is like clearly a false positive. There's nothing here, it's just rain. But the LiDAR's picking up the rain. So how Zoox can actually offset this problem is they have radar, camera and all that, thermal, and they can reason that this is false positives because they are fusing data and they can actually make judgments based off of different technologies. So maybe to close up this video, oftentimes the question is asked like, is it LiDAR or radar or something like that? It's definitely going to be a mix of all of those. As you've seen before, radar gives you like this quite high accuracy and velocity measurements, but the level of detail you get from LiDAR is just unprecedented, right? So you could argue LiDAR and camera is a really good mix, but then again, radar has this unique capabilities of giving you velocity measurements. So maybe there's like this technology called FMCW LiDAR. If this is really coming into series adoption and becoming a viable component, then maybe really I would say like, maybe I would put my money on camera and FMCW LiDAR. But for now, it's really hard to say. So for me, I can just recap. Zoox, for me, I don't get anything for like sharing this, right? I'm just a huge fan. I love how open they are about like what they do, what they can do, what they're using. I don't know, just tell me, do you want to like see more like this content? We could talk about Cruise, Waymo, or these other companies. We could dive into more like the different technologies, LiDAR, radar, camera, thermal and such, how they work, what their limitations are and so on. So please let me know down in the comments. I'm just starting out. I have no experience with YouTube, so it would be more like amazing to get some feedback to see if this is going in the right direction and so on. Subscribe so you don't miss any updates. And yeah, I'm more than excited to like take you on this journey and to see where this is going. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon.